You are listening to New Earth Pathways. New Earth Pathways is a movement to awaken humanity while creating a community in unity. Connect to your heart as we come together as a circle of light to advance the awakening of the planet.
Hello and welcome to our series, Awakening Stories on New Earth Pathways. And this is a space where we get to really have just a heartfelt conversation, connection about spirituality, awakening, ascension, all of those really fun topics that I love exploring. And today I have with me Gabriela, who I met through our New Earth Pathways community and through Activate Evolution as well. And Gabriela, I'm just going to hand it over to you for a quick introduction, and then I have some more questions for you as we go forward. So welcome, Gabriela.
Thank you, Erica. Thank you for having me, and it's really awesome what you're unfolding. It's beautiful to be a part of it.
Thank you.
So I am originally from Switzerland. I live in New Zealand now, have for nearly 30 years. And I am married here in New Zealand and have been working as a therapist, as a psychotherapist for over 20 years, and as a holistic health practitioner, maybe 30 years. I've always loved people and shown up for people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love that. And that's just something I see throughout our community too. I think we're all kind of drawn to each other. We have a sort of similar mission that we're here to support in how we can and connect with people. And so it's so nice to hear you say that. And so if you don't mind, Gabriela, before we take a quick little commercial break, I would love to hear kind of what it was like for you, sort of the unfolding of your awareness of your own spirituality, or another way to look at that is, was there a point in your life where you realized that maybe you saw the world differently from most of the people around you?
I love that question. And it sort of took me right back to childhood in a way. And while I wasn't aware then, but I remember my parents saying, I used to stay my parents were in the living room and I was in the bedroom, and I had my covers over my head and I was just in there. And I used to say, or we used to say, oh, you're watching your own TV. And only years later, I realized that I just was having my little visions, and that was my TV. There was no TV, there wasn't.
Wow.
But that's what I recall. And only really many, many years later, it clicked to me, that was already that. And because we were only allowed to watch a tiny little good night story for a quarter of an hour on the real TV. So I had made up my own interaction undercover. Then I think my childhood really was, just a normal childhood. I loved animals. My first love were, penguins and frogs and dogs. And then I went really into horses for many, many years. Even when I trained, did my apprenticeships, the horses followed me. I never had my own horse. I always worked in stables to earn myself the chance to ride. Up right into the 20s, and then it shifted. And I think my conscious awakening then was nowhere to be seen in my 20s. I had a marriage and a marriage breakup, and then shifted to New Zealand and got married late 20s with the husband that I'm with now. And early 30s, I got severely depressed and had anxiety, depression, and was in a real bad state. But I remember the day when it was so bad and so scary. I never want to go back to that state again. Mm-hmm. And that pushed me forward to learn, to grow, to heal, to unfold over, well, the next, well, until now, 20 odd years, 25, nearly 30 years. And it just went gentle, to having the staying hidden was for so many years, you know, staying hidden, being highly sensitive and staying hidden was for a long time the thing that worked for me. And only in the last few years, really, I switched into, I'm embracing this. It's okay.
Yeah. Wow, that is so powerful. And I really relate to your path and your story. And I'd like to take a quick break, but I'm really curious to learn more about that experience with kind of staying hidden and, you know, not being able to come out with your true kind of gifts, because, you know, it can be looked at as a negative thing or judged because people don't understand it if they haven't experienced themselves. So yeah, I'd love to hear more about that and also talk to you a little bit more about that period of depression and what that was like for you overcoming that piece as well. So thank you for sharing that little snippet of your journey with us. And we're going to take a little deeper dive into that in just a moment. And before we go to break, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about our community and just learning some great tools and ways to cope with things like struggling through existential angst or depression or anything else, you can visit activateevolution.com, and there are courses and different resources and videos and podcasts, and also our community, New Earth Pathways. We are on Patreon together, and we meet once a week, and you can find us on patreon.com/New Earth Pathways, and we'll be right back.
Are you looking for a community to light you up while connecting to others? Are you ready to live beyond the containers that have been created in the old paradigm? Come experience what it really means to be part of a New Earth community. New Earth Pathways is a community where a sense of belonging is ever flowing. Opportunities are endless and unconditional love reigns. It is time to create the reality you came here to become. If you are ready to step into self-mastery and creation, explore your brilliance with our community of unity. Together in oneness, we are in the creation of a new earth. We welcome you to a circle of light. Come walk with like-minded, like-hearted souls that uplift and support expansion. The divine design is in creation. Your light matters in this evolutionary space. It is time to connect to the miracle pattern and be the light you came here to be. We welcome you with open arms and invite you to visit newearthpathways.com to connect with others living their divine purpose.
Hey, welcome back. I'm Erica, and I am your host today for Awakening Stories, and I'm here with Gabriela. And we're going to pick back up with Gabriela. There are two things I wanted to explore, whichever you're more drawn to, Gabriela, is that, you know, coming up out of that depression and, you know, how you found your way out of that, what kind of tools, and then more recently, how you are coming out into full expression of who you really are, with you said with being, you know, really highly sensitive and intuitive. So I'm going to hand that over to you.
Yeah, thank you. So when I was experiencing the depression and the anxiety, I was fortunate enough to be referred to a good therapist, and I worked with her for many, many years. And as I said before, I remember the day of where it was so scary and so close to, you know, harming myself or taking my life. And that decision then, I do not want to go there. And that has led me, you know, even over the years, there were times where I got close to I call it the red line, yeah, again, but I just kept learning, how do I care for myself and where is the red line? And after a few years therapy, I actually started studying psychotherapy. And that, of course, the studies themselves, you know, force you to heal, to look at yourself as well. And so it supported my personal therapy. It was a part of the studies too. And then all the teachings that we had helped me to really find a solid foundation in how to understand the psyche and who I am as a whole. So that my studies here, they gave me a solid foundation. And the modality that I was trained in is transactional analysis. And I would say, you know, at the time there isn't really anything spiritual in that modality. But the beautiful thing is, within probably most modalities, you can make it in a way, or applied in a way that works for you. And I was holistic, you know, I had been trained as a reflexologist, massage therapist, color therapist. I was a Reiki master, a kinesiology. So I had all this in the bag. So the body and the mind link were always important for me. And that allowed me to even offer at times a session, say a reflexology session, for someone that had engaged in talking therapy while, you know, clear contracting and boundaries. But that integration, that gently supported me in owning my sensitivity, in owning and sensitivity really was, I started to understand that, yes, I am a highly sensitive person, and from being completely overwhelmed by the world. And, you know, I used to be so uptight meeting new people. You know, I got sore here, I got, you know, I was just like, for well into my adult life, I was always uptight about meeting people. But as I say, over the years, I started to understand it's not a bad thing to be so sensitive. And when I started to notice, I can feel people's feelings, and I can hold that space, and I can understand the space, and through that help them through their feelings. Another door had opened, and in the last, I would say 3, 4, 5 years, I got less and less scared of saying, I'm spiritual. And I engaged with people, asking them about their spirituality, and inviting this into the room, or inviting a lot of stuff that, you know, is maybe not spoken on a day-to-day basis into the room. And then jumping forward, I suppose, now to a year and a half ago, I came across Jules's talk in one of the presenters, and something just, you know, got me there, that I engaged and started with a retreat, and then with the courses along, and I haven't stopped. And truly, my life has changed. My spiritual evolution, coming out of the closet, has just gone. And I own it now. I own who I am, and you know, all of it, I own it. Whether I have a wobbly or whether I'm strong, no matter what, I own it.
Yeah. That is just such a beautiful example of your personal path of evolution too. And just how, and I think a lot of people in our community have experienced this. There's something about that past year and a half working within this community. It's really accelerated. It's a really accelerated process. It feels good, and it's work, but it's so great to hear your perspective and your experience within that context. And I'm just curious what you think. What is it about spirituality you think that people feel like they have to hide? Do you have any ideas on that? Because I struggle with that too.
I think, well, we could go into whatever past lives, and we've all talked already about that, but maybe the residue that is left over from that is a fear of being shamed or different. And I think what we're learning now, where we are at now, is we do not need to be afraid of shame anymore. It is okay to feel all feelings, and we are learning the tools to hold and to manage and to, the word, what is it? To be authentic with all that we are, no matter what. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was a part of our upbringing, of our parents' journeys, grandparents' journeys, and we're fortunate enough to come out the spiritual closet now and celebrate this in a way. No, not in a way. I really think we're here now to own it, to celebrate it, to live it, to incorporate it.
Yeah, I love that. That gave me chills when you said that. I think that's what I've thought too, this combination of maybe this past life residue of being shamed or ostracized or even killed for your spiritual beliefs, and then just all that programming in this lifetime. But it has been really amazing to see just in general how differences are finally starting to be celebrated. All different kinds of differences. And that gives me a lot of hope. And I think we're in a really amazing period right now. It's still that growing pains phase, but I'm just so glad to have people like you in my community that we can kind of be vulnerable with our struggles, and also kind of how we came up out of it, and are so much more empowered now too. So I really appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that process.
Absolutely. Empowerment is the key, and we all have the ability and the opportunity to empower ourselves, and there is help out there.
Yes. Yeah. So Gabriela, is there anything in particular that you wanted to share today, or anything you had been thinking about that's coming up?
I think what is super, super precious for me, and that has come in today, is community. Again, coming from a place of more isolation, withdrawn and hiding, into, and we said for many of us in the last year and a half, experiencing a community and I have never experienced this. I have never connected to that many like-minded people where I simply can be. And so I would say, if anyone is listening by chance, whether it's this or anything on this platform, is this is such an amazing soul community that stands really, really strong and allows each and every one of us to shine our lights in a way that it's right for you. So it's a what word could I find? It's a place of appreciation beyond anything. I don't know. I haven't even got words for it. It's just gone. I just think it's just, yeah.
Yeah. And I know what you mean, Gabriela, and there isn't really a word for it, because on the one hand, it's so special and unique, but on the other hand, it just feels so normal and natural. Like this is how we were meant to be. It's just this place of welcoming community, authenticity. It's a safe place to just be.
That's it. And
it's hard to find a word for that.
I think what you actually touched on it, I think it was the word, it's a felt sense. It's a feeling of being included, or feeling, not even included, a feeling of being in this community. It's a felt sense.
Yeah. And I've heard people refer to as, it just feels like home.
That's just it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh, full chills. Woo. So, well, Gabriela, I think this is just the most perfect, beautiful place to end, just on that note. And again, I want to welcome anyone to join us. A great place to start is to explore activateevolution.com, and you can find a link to our New Earth Pathways community there. And we have YouTube videos and podcasts where you can just start kind of playing around in the frequency and actually kind of start getting to know people before you even step into anything. So, Gabriela, thank you so much. This was so special. I really enjoyed speaking with you.
Thank you. Thank
you. All right. Okay.
All
Blessings,
right.
everyone.
Bye-bye. Thank you. Bye.
You are listening to New Earth Pathways. We are a nonprofit community creating a place for you to experience a new Earth community in unity. We invite you to join the movement to awaken the planet while connecting to your soul family. By joining our soul community, you can contribute to the movement designed to be the biggest event in the evolution of humanity. Visit newearthpathways.com to connect with others living their divine purpose.